All right. I hope this is working right. Hi, everyone. Peter Patricios. And you are on one of my channels. This is Actors Without Class. You got to see the setup I have. I actually made one. I keep forgetting to look at that. You're supposed to look at the eyepiece, right? Not the window screen, but it's so distracting to see yourself. So, what I'm looking at is this. I have these eyeballs from the craft store, like when you make puppets and whatnot. And I taped it. This is an old cell phone. It's the 4, which still works. I taped it so that I look at that viewfinder, so it looks like I'm connecting with you guys. So, just real quick, this is sort of a revamp video. Essentially, this is going to be video 1 for the channel. And that's for several reasons. I'm new to making these videos, and I wanted to share recipes. There's a channel for that. I wanted to share skits and comedy. That's on this channel with the acting. And the meditation. I'm doing a meditation channel too, but I'm kind of keeping it, I don't know, I wanted to keep that one separate because I almost feel sort of cheesy doing that one because my friends are going to laugh at me. But I like meditating, and I like guided meditation. And so I'm doing these poems that I've written. I don't write a lot of them. There's probably like 8 to 10. It's good. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't be embarrassed about it. I'm going to put it on there anyway. So you could laugh about it, but some of you are going to enjoy it. So screw it. That's the way it's going to go. But here's what's happening. I'm new, so I was watching all these tutorials. And generally all of them say, you know, this is what you have to do. You have to, you know, explain what your channel's about, and then there's this call to action where you ask people to subscribe, and there has to be some sort of selling point, right? So when I made my first trailer, which took me a week, by the way, you'll see my outfits changing. I think so. I'll put the outtakes up on the thing too. I was sleeping like 2 hours a night. I was so delirious. I think one time I was standing and recording, and I actually just fell. Like I fell over. Not in a serious way. I didn't get hurt. I fell into the bed. And I just was like, what the hell? Because I was so excited to do this and so excited to share. But the thing that I did that I think is wrong, and it's just been bothering me the whole time, and I knew I would change it, was because I was putting myself in a direction that I didn't want to go because of the advice I was getting from people. Great people. I mean, some of these channels are a little cheesy and out to deceive people. Like, you subscribe to the channel, the next thing you know, you're getting emails out the wazoo, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, and I don't know how to stop some of them. That's fine. But some of the tutorials have been really helpful because I never used editing equipment, and that's great because now I'm recording my own videos, which are just all over the map, but that's because I am all over the map. So let's get back to the first video. The title of it was, Work One Day and Make Money for 20 Years. That's true. Okay? But, number one, that's never what I tell my students, okay? Who, yes, I work with pro bono. I always tell them, be prepared to be poor in this business. Because the fact is that you can work on a job and get checks for 20 years. But those checks diminish over time. They'll fluctuate. Sometimes they'll go up. But you can't live off of them unless you get a bunch of them. A bunch of movies that you're, a bunch of TV shows. I could work on a TV show and not work again for 3 months. When people ask me how much I made on a show, if I say, oh, I made $800 for the day or $1,000 for the day, $1,000 for a day? I say, yeah, but you may not work for another 3 months after that. So money should never be your motivation for being in the business. It should be that you want to do it because there's nothing else that brings you that kind of joy. That you should want to do it against every hardship. The stuff I've had to do, I've had 2 and 3 jobs. I've been a caregiver. I still am a caregiver to my mom. I would never take a vacation from work and use my vacation days to film, you know, when I'd book a job. I would take off from work, sometimes to use my vacation days, go up to New York, so that was a cost, 60 to 80 bucks to go to New York, right? Audition for something, come back to Philly, get called back for a callback, which I'll explain the terminology in another segment. Audition again, now you're getting close. So now I've spent almost, you know, $150, close to $200, and then I don't book the job. Although usually I do book the job because I do. I mean, later on, in the beginning I didn't. And Without Class was kind of more about the title being funny. Because, yeah, I didn't go to traditional schooling. I would have loved to. Because, yeah, you do need to be taught. So I was taught by my fellow actors who are very generous. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to embarrass people, but there are people I still work with today who knew my situation. I went to medical school and I dropped out because I didn't want to do it. I wanted to be an actor from when I was a kid, but I was pressured by my dad. He's a good guy, but he wanted me to be a doctor, and that's not what I wanted to do. And when I talk to you about investing some money in taking classes, yeah, you're going to glean some information from this channel and you're never going to have to buy anything or pay for anything. Some of these links, they'll say, it's totally free, but you go to it, and if you're making a video, it'll put a big old watermark across it unless you pay, and now you kind of like did it. And also, if you're going to buy one of those editing things, look into the programs that it works with. I paid $100 for one, and it turns out my computer didn't have some CPU chip or something other. I'm going to try and get the Geek Squad to put it on there, so I can't use it. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that it needed that. And so I paid for it. I bought 3 different editing things. The other one I just couldn't figure out. It was like looking at an airplane panel. So, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. You do need to train, okay? And there are different types of training, different styles of training. There's method, there's Stanislavski, and I don't even know half of them because I couldn't go to school for it. But I did try to learn. And none of the great, great, great actors got there without schooling. I don't know of any. Now, have some people made it without schooling and are working steady? Sure, there are some people who have, but they're generally in a niche where they're sort of just being themselves and learning lines. That's fine, but if you want to do this as an art form, as a craft, it takes time. I started when I was in my 20s. I did not really work consistently till I got to about 30, 35. So 22, 30, that's like 10 years of not really doing much. But I was training during those 10 years. I was doing plays for free. I was doing movies for free. Quite a few of them were a big old shit show, and some of them were really good. But also, people in the industry don't want to take a chance on you if you've never trained, okay? Especially if they're working with a budget. Think of this. You watch the talk shows and everybody looks like they're friends and it's so fun. And you watch the behind the scenes and everybody's cracking up and the bloopers. But at the end of the day, it is a business and they're trying to make money, okay? And if you had a choice between hiring someone who's never worked before, comes to your office and says, I love it, I'm going to give my everything, I'm going to do my best, but you don't know how they're going to be on film, if you don't have anything to go on, are you going to risk $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, $1 million to put someone in a role? Because guess what? You put someone in a role and they don't show up one day because they don't feel like it. It's a lot of people who are going to be pissed and a lot of money getting lost. You've got to prove yourself, and not only prove yourself reliable, but prove that you have the skills to do what it takes and that you know the language. When you're on set and they say, "Did you get your sides?" I didn't know what that was. The first day I got a job in New York, it was on the show Sex and the City. I didn't even know what it was. It was on HBO and I didn't have it. I called my mom. I was so excited. I said, Mom, because I'd moved to New York. I said, Mom, all I did was send my headshot in and I booked a role on Sex and the City. And you're going to see my mom in some of these things. She was so excited. She said, of course they did. They could see the talent just from your headshot, She gets so supportive. So I get to set, right? And I'm all puffy and chest out. And I said, I'm here to play a member of the entourage for the guy, the main guy who was with Kristen Stewart. No, not Kristen Stewart. Davis. Anyway, the brunette, the cute, youngish sort of. Anyway, you'll see her in the picture. So the guy goes, well, are you a principal or background? I had never heard of those two terms. I mean, I think I'd done extra work once on a film that came to Philly, Fallen. But I really wasn't paying attention. And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, what do you mean you don't know? Who booked you for the job? And I said, I don't remember the name of the casting director. The cast, did you audition? I was like, no. Now he's getting mad because I clearly don't know what I'm doing. And he goes, did you learn lines? Do you have lines? I said, I don't know. I thought they'd give them to me here. He just said, please do me a favor. Go stand over there and I'll get back to you. Now I'm asking the group of people he sent me over to where the extras were, which is smart of him, what was going on. And they tell me, Who was it? This casting director? I said, yeah, it was. Well, I think it was Grant Wilfley. Well, you're an extra, you know, and it's kind of like the low man on the totem pole. So, you know, you're going to be treated a little. I don't know. Look, I don't blame them, because sometimes when you're wrangling a bunch of people, like you could be 100 extras in a club scene, it could get frustrating. Everybody's asking the same question over and over again. And it's better when it's sort of an intimate setting. I'm going to do an episode about extra work and about stand-in work. Again, this is just the intro. And I'm talking way too much. But the point is that on that day, I learned a lot. And that's the way I taught myself, was going to sets and learning before I put myself out there, before I auditioned. I did 4 years of work, and I did audition for some things like student films and indie projects. But I didn't put myself out there because I said, I've got a lot to learn, because I screwed up at my first agent opportunity, and I wasn't going to do that again, because it's a small business, and word gets around fast. Gets around fast when you're good, gets around even faster when you're bad. So, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to combine all the channels into one, and the little thumbnails, the little photos that go with the YouTube, I'm going to have a different symbol for each channel. The cooking channel, the this one, the Actors Without Class channel, and maybe a different main color or something to differentiate it. And that way they'll all be under one umbrella. And who doesn't want to learn how to cook, even if you're watching it for the acting? Or who doesn't want to see a little bit of acting stuff? And there's going to be sketches on there, and there's going to be some behind-the-scenes stuff, and I'll be announcing when I'm in stuff. This is great for that. I hope I didn't lose you guys, because this is me, all right? No more Cheese Fest. I'm going to label that one the cheese trailer. Cheese trailer. Because that was not me. Oh my God, I cringe. All right? This is me. Acting is hard, but it's also amazing. You probably won't live off the money you make at it. There is a statistic I heard, years ago. It was something like people in SAG, which is the Screen Actors Guild Union, make, I think it's less than $10,000 a year at their craft. The rest is supplemented by survival jobs and such. And we'll talk about survival jobs, but definitely you'll need one. And where it's at now, especially with YouTube, with platforms like YouTube, and I'm trying to slow down. I'm very hyper and I get very excited. But YouTube and TikTok, yeah, some of the videos are just silliness, but they've also given young people or people just starting out in the business, you can be older and just starting out, directors and whatnot, an opportunity to show their stuff. Because if you put your video out there, you couldn't get it out there before. There was no platform for it. It was decided by the producers, it was decided by the distributor, and it was really hard. Why not make your own project? Why not film your own thing? And if you don't know how to write, get with a writer who doesn't know how to film or direct. Make a group. Make a little production company. And start putting your own content out there while you're auditioning for stuff. Because in the beginning, you're going to be the person who's handing the file over. Unless you have an aunt or uncle in the business, someone to give you a leg up, someone to trust you. And it doesn't happen a lot because no one wants to put their neck on the line for someone who they don't know or don't know their work, who hasn't had a lot of experience in the business. You know, if you wanted to go to try a case in court, well, would you? People always tell me, "Oh yeah, get me on set. I can act. I'm great. I can make people laugh. I'm a natural." I said, "That's great." But I mean, imagine if the world worked that way. Oh, you're a doctor? Get me into surgery, man. Oh man, I watch that pimple popper lady all the time. Oh yeah, I could do heart surgery. I used to watch ER, or a law student. I want to be a lawyer. Get me into the courtroom. I can argue a case. I'm so good at arguing. I always win arguments with my brother. He always tells me I should have been a lawyer. Yeah, I could be a lawyer. I don't need a degree. Just come on. Even cooking. You may be the best cook and everybody says it in the neighborhood. But is someone going to hire you like a wedding? Are they going to hire you for this big old $20,000, $30,000 wedding to handle the 5 courses that they have and coordinating all the employees and all of that? If you've never done it. So, It's going to take some time, going to take some experience, going to take some learning. And yes, you can get paid for 20 years from working one day. It is true. And if you get many, many jobs together, those checks kind of roll in. But they could also be really small. I've gotten checks for 1 cent. I've gotten checks for that. So, God, stick with me. I know today is random, but this is what this channel's about, okay? Subscribe to it. We're gonna have fun. Bye. Right. Real quick, you're gonna add this on at the end. The peepholes, places, and things, which is the big umbrella covering the channel, was because I'd always wanted to have that title for either a film, and it might still be a film title, because there was something about it that just intrigues people when they hear the title. And for me, it also represented how I love doing things that are a play on words. So people, places, and things, peepholes, places, and things. And the idea of, I remember living in New York, because I'd never had one here at my house in Philadelphia. So, you know, you look through that little, and you have this limited view of the world. You could see what's right in front of you and a little to the right and left. And for me, that sort of represents the human condition. You know, we have this, based on our experience and where we are in the world, we have sort of a limited view. And as we grow, we have opportunities to expand that view, but it's never all encompassing. And so that's, to me, where the peepholes comes from. And then the idea of, you know, people and things you need to do, and the places you need to go to get things done. So that's peepholes, places, and things. And it's going to be the big, mostly I'll just say peepholes, places, and things presents, you know, Actors Without Class, or presents retro recipes, or presents meditation, poetically guided meditation. All right. I gotta tell you, man, I've made so many videos that's backed up. The editing is what's gonna take some time. A couple more meditation ones, but some of the sketch comedy ones are just really fun to do. I hope that you really enjoy them, because they're a hoot to make, man.